Hi guys and girls, this is Claudia here from Metaldays 2017, and this time it's hell we're talking to. Thanks for being here.
Hi, I'm Kev, this is Andy.
Oh.
So you arrived, like personally, but there has been something going on, you're missing stuff, I guess.
None of our equipment arrived. And for any band guys out there who are watching this, it's the worst nightmare you can possibly have. If you're just a basic guitar, bass, drums, kind of meat and potatoes band, it's not really such a problem because you can borrow guitars and stuff from members of other bands. But for us, when we have quite a technically complex show with keyboards and click tracks and all this kind of stuff, it's very, very hard. It was very, very stressful. We did. We got through it somehow. With a lot of help from some guys in other bands and a lot of help from the production crew here who've just been absolutely fantastic. So, thank you very much to the Metaldays production guys because they did a super job for us.
Wow. So, could you enjoy the gig then?
I enjoyed the end of it.
Okay.
No. I mean, when you have a situation, I mean, we found out about this kind of 10:30 last night, and between me and Andy we must have made 300 phone calls to all sorts of people. Yeah, at least. I mean, you phoned the Death Angel guys 150 times.
No, right, okay.
Yeah. So, we it's taken a long time to kind of fix this all up, all the loan equipment and how to get the keyboard parts flown in from the laptop and all this kind of stuff. And we were still running around kind of 20 minutes before showtime fixing stuff up, but it's the show must go on, and it did.
Right.
So yeah.
So usually when you're heading on stage with your equipment, then how do you get ready for the show when there's everything there?
Well, I mean, even with this, I mean, it actually wasn't that difficult because we sort of got everything lined up. So these festivals are quite difficult with the turnaround. So you get like 15-20 minutes. And in that time, we've got to get the back line set up, obviously in-ears set up, because our drummer's on a click for a lot of bits, so we've got to get a mix set up for him as well. So when it gets right into the setup time, then we've got the makeup and all the equipment, the gear to get on as well. So it's literally right up to the last second we're getting ready. So, but it's good. I mean, it keeps on your toes, and
Keeps us young and beautiful.
Yeah, ish. But it's fine. It's fine, and actually it went really well today. I mean, all the local crew and the monitor guy was really clued in, so everything was pretty much on it. So we've had far worse gigs with longer setup times than today. So it's sort of a bit of testament to the local crew, really, wasn't it, on how quick they got us going. Yeah.
Praise them highly.
Yeah, and I actually really enjoyed it today, even though it wasn't, it was an unfamiliar guitar. It was fine.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you're writing music, is it like there's a certain place you go inside yourself to write the stuff, or?
I find you just get inspired at different times. I mean, if my excuse is when I buy a new guitar, which happens regularly when I've been on eBay drunk, I've got an excuse to write new riffs then. So I find like new equipment tends to inspire me actually. When you get something new that you'll get sort of a couple of good songs out of a new guitar. So to me that warrants paying for the guitar.
Oh.
So that's my excuse back home anyway. So
I agree. 'Cause I had a new guitar made for me, and Andy's right. I mean, you it's like a child with a new toy. You're just playing it all the time, and obviously the more you play it, you suddenly that sounds pretty good. So a little spark, like a little acorn, and suddenly it's an oak tree. So that's how it usually happens. And also for me, because I'm the keyboard player in the band, some of the the keyboard technology now, some of the sounds that you can generate with this stuff are just so mind-blowingly good. I mean, I'm using a new program called Omnisphere, and it's a completely PC-based synthesizer system. And some of the sounds in there, you just play this sound, and it inspires you just to, I need to create a song with this sound in it because the sound is so good. So it can come from many places.
So the writing is also sound triggered.
It is, yeah. It's obviously the most important part is the song. You know, we're kind of very old-fashioned and very old school. We still write songs with tunes and stuff like this. So melody is very important. But you know, as Andy says, it can be just the simplest little idea on a guitar, which can start off the whole idea rolling. It's like a big ball at the top of a hill. It starts moving very slowly, and it gets faster and faster.
And
so
it slows down right at the bottom.
Yeah. Just like that. So when you're having all that energy from playing live, is it you get that into the studio? Is that easy?
No, not really. No, because you do get a different sort of vibe live. You know, you've got the adrenaline and the volume. So it is difficult for that to come across in the studio with any band, really. You know, to get it so it's got the right energy and the right tightness. It's you know, it is tricky with especially if you're recording people separately as well. You know, live, even it can be quite sloppy live, but have an energy that sort of locks it together. Where if it was under the microscope in the studio, it wouldn't cut it. So it's a total different vibe in the studio, really.
Just the fact that the way bands record now is totally different. I mean, in the old days, in the 80s, 70s, a band would get together in a rehearsal room.
Right.
They would learn how to play the song, get it really nice, and then go to the studio and record it. Whereas now, as Andy will tell you as a producer, what it usually happens is that a lot of the songs are actually written in the studio by the band, and they will basically piece together a song, and then when the complete recording is finished, the band will then learn how to play it to go and perform it live.
Which isn't the right way to do it, in my professional opinion.
The other way around, right?
Well, I mean, it's, you know, some of the albums I've been working on recently, I've had the bands playing live again, and it makes such a difference. You know, if once a band's playing together and they're getting the push and pull of the tempos, and all of a sudden everyone's locking in, and it's like, oh, why don't we try this? And you've got a bit of that, you know, interaction between the band members, where the way it's gone with what I call laptop metal, where people are just writing things at home in the bedroom, it's just getting pieced together by one musician, and it's very one-dimensional, where the whole point of being a band is it should have 4 or 5 different members putting their input in on probably maybe one key idea, but it's the personalities within the band and the limits within the band as well that makes the band sound. So, and it always was. You know, you listen to all the classic bands, and you know, you can tell the singer, you can tell the drummer, you can tell the bass player. It's not just one guy that's put his stamp on it. So, to me, as a producer, I'm trying to get a bit of that back into bands now, because that's what I like. You know, it's what made those classic bands classic to me.
So, what do you think makes somebody become an artist? What do you think of that term? Like, does somebody define you're an artist or you're not? Or?
Individuality, I think. Not someone that sort of copies, someone that sort of leads the way, I'd say, and someone that's inspired. I mean, I don't get a lot of the stuff that's out there now, but there's obviously a lot of talent out there still. That's just. I think you get to an age where you do become a little bit jaded when you've been in the music industry for so long. But yeah, I mean, someone that's really, I suppose, you can't really. It's not for me to say who's an artist and who's not, but I think someone who's putting their all into it, really, and is trying to lead the way a little bit.
I mean, something I would also add is that, you know, because I'm the age that I am, I actually find it very difficult, almost impossible, to listen to a lot of the modern kind of metal produced by young bands. And to me, and I know people will raise their hands in horror, to me, so much of it sounds the same. I mean, back in the 80s, you could tell within 30 seconds, oh, this is Saxon, oh, this is Judas Priest, oh, this is Iron Maiden, because as Andy says, they all had their own individuality, whereas now there are so many bands that sound so very, very similar to each other. It's the same blast beat on the drums, the same growled vocals, and I don't know how young metal fans can differentiate between one band and another. And the other thing as well, as Andy's already said, when you listen to this, the technical standard of the playing is just fantastic. You've got these young guys, fantastic guitar players, incredible young drummers, but when you actually listen to what they do, there's no song, you know, not to my ears. Maybe it's just because I'm old, you know.
So it's different to you.
Yeah. I just can't hear a song in a lot of
The 80s were way better than now. That's what we're saying. I think it was a case of bands were trying to be individual back then, where I think now it's more bands are trying to fit into genres now. But yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking any newer bands because there's so many killer players out there. There's super nice guys in these bands as well. So it's just when you. I think when you are sort of a little bit older, you do tend to look back. You always get it. You always get, oh, it's better when we were young. But actually, it probably wasn't. But it was magical to us when we were that age. And I think to the 15 and 20-year-olds now, what's going on now is magical to them.
Yeah.
So I think you do sort of just grow up a bit, and you get a bit, a bit bitter and cynical in your old age.
But also, you know, the younger kids who've been raised on a diet of all the modern stuff, they'll see us and they're actually, holy shit, what is this? And they just stay and they watch, and they love it because it's totally different.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Well, we think they love it. They seem to be smiling and laughing, but whether they're laughing with us or laughing at us. But yeah, I mean, it's surprising now when you go to a Maiden show, and I don't know how Maiden have done it, but they've got that younger crowd back up again. It's like they've discovered the parents' record collection, isn't it? They've managed to, they've cracked it. So fair play to them. So yeah, I mean, it does seem like some of these kids are getting into what the parents were into. It's come around sort of full circle, really, hasn't it? So that's good.
So thank you very much for the interview.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you for the show. Thanks.